Hello, this is Braden Bentel. This is for my first response for the discussion post over the first half of the Moor's account. I'm going to be talking about the pebble for this video um, and its significance and the whole situation surrounding it. I will try to find the exact quotes for what we'll be discussing. I have the book open on my laptop, but I may have trouble at times to find it. So there was a bit of significance in Mustafa being the one to find it. He did not know, the significance of it. He thought it was nothing more than a pebble when he initially found it. Only when his master, Senor Castillo, or Senor Durante, sorry, when he found it, only then was it that he truly realized that there was something to gain from him finding it. When he showed it to the captain and they all were like, "Whoa, this is big," he realized that it was more than he thought it was. He was the only one to not really gain anything from discovering gold. It did not change his life very much. He was still a slave. It wasn't going to free him overnight if he discovered gold. And he initially is, later on in chapter 3, the story of the illusion. I don't have a page count because I have my books sorted in a strange manner, just in the continuous slide. But it says, to quote, "Perfect, Senor Dorantes said, patting me on the back. This little gesture nourished the dream I had conceived when I found the pebble of gold." And initially, when he finds it, he never states that he knew it was gold at first. He just said it looked different from the rest. He thought it might have been, let me quote correctly, he thought it might have been, where does it say? Pyrite. That's what he thought it was pyrite. He did not even realize what it was. And then, he didn't have anything to gain, but he had a lot to lose emotionally from it. He gained a little boost, a little confidence boost, but then afterwards, due to the everything that came from him finding the piece of gold, he felt more destroyed, more sad, depressed, due to the fact that this one little pebble he found brought misery to many people who were beaten by the Castilians and who sought to find more of the gold. He goes into, he felt horrible because all this came about. How strange. Another quote in chapter 3 again. He goes, "How strange that must have seemed to them, not a conqueror, but the slave of a conqueror, who had brought them the small comfort of a little food. Perhaps this led to them think of me as a good man, a decent man. But these prisoners did not know, and I could not explain to them, that had once traded in slaves." Then it says, "I still caused the suffering of others. It was my find, the pebble of gold, that had unleashed the violence of Senor Narvaez upon them. They had bruises everywhere, on their faces, their chests, their arms, and their legs. Did they know where the kingdom of Appalachia was? And why would they tell the governor? If he could," and he just shows remorse for finding it, for not just leaving it on the ground. And maybe nothing would have changed. And then in chapter 7, when they discover that it's not as they were hoping it would be gold-wise, there's not a large amount of gold to be found. They all just turned on. They didn't turn on him, on Mustafa, but they started to change their happiness into anger. He says in chapter 7, "I could feel the heat of his anger and disappointment. He had been pleased with me for finding the pebble of gold, but now he blamed me for its failure to deliver the kingdom. How foolish I had been to expect anything from him. I already knew of his fickle nature." And he quickly realized that, it was all for nothing. Many people suffered from it, and I think it was just like, significance of him finding it was he was the only person that had nothing to gain, only a loss. Anyone else, they wouldn't have cared. He was besides maybe the father who tried to get them to stop. He was the only other one that tried at all to change it, but he was unsuccessful as well. And I just feel like it's a good question to ask, and it is slightly ironic that he found it. Just the only person not to have anything to do with the mission. Otherwise, he's taken there as a slave. He'd been beaten, everything that these guys were subjected to, and it's crazy.